Hey there, angry faithful. I just wanted to drop in, bend your ear a little bit, get your attention. So if you're not listening, drop what you're doing and pay attention to me because I'm here to inform you that not only can you get your daily, maybe if you're binging it, I'm not sure, that's entirely up to you, but you can multiply your doses of angry me fuckery by paying attention to all of the platforms upon which you can find either the dulcet tones of my voice and David's voice or my pretty face and David's not so pretty face. Anyways, digressing, we not only we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we're on Rumble, we're on Google, Apple Podcast. We have a TikTok page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Facebook. So if you find yourself fuckery deprived, curl up with a nice hot mug of shut the fuck up and just listen. Open those ear holes and be prepared to be cream pied like it's the first time. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, angry faithful. Today on Psychos and Sociopaths, we're going to go over Larry Hall. This one was actually a TV show on Hulu called Blackbird. I've been putting this guy off for a long time because I was just like, because I don't know if we're just gonna do Larry Hall, but there's another guy that was in on this from the Blackbird TV series. It's an actual guy. He actually stayed in with this guy to get all the to get him to be stopped being acquitted because he was almost acquitted, but he's staying, spoiler alert, life imprisonment because of this. But let's get on with the show, Johnny.
Okay. Excuse me for just a second here. All right. For whatever reason, one of my microphone socks fell onto the floor, and I don't know how. Okay. Yeah, right. I know. Let me get into my radio voice here.
So glad that you can do that.
Scotch. I love scotch. Okay.
Are you going to do this every time we do an episode?
No, not every time.
It's going to be, I mean, you stopped doing the, Stay Classy San Diego.
me. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Larry Dwayne Hall, born December 11th, 1962, is an American murderer, rapist, and convicted serial killer who stalked and murdered numerous girls and women between 1981 and 1994. A fan of the American Revolution and Civil War, Hall traveled around the Midwest for historical reenactments where he could often abduct, rape, torture, and murder girls and women, basically teenagers or young adults, but sometimes preteens or middle-aged. He came under police attention after the discovery of a 15-year-old's remains in November of 1993 and was convicted of her kidnapping. He later confessed to that and an additional murder though recanted his confessions of both crimes. Since his arrest, Hall has confessed to more than 35 murders, recanting them all, though authorities believe he could be responsible for the deaths and disappearances of 40 to 50 young women, which would place him among the most prolific serial killers in American history. Hall was born as a twin in Wabash, Indiana, in December of 1962. Though he spent his first few days in the emergency room due to lack of oxygen after his brother Gary fed on him in the womb in a monochorionic pregnancy. Larry grew up digging graves with his sexton father, and he was antisocial in school where he struggled below his IQ, or struggled due to his low IQ, rather. He was suspected of committing various acts of arson, burglary, and other petty crimes in his teens. After high school, Hall got a job as a janitor and began traveling around the state to take part in historical reenactments. Now, on September 20th of 1993, the 15-year-old Jessica Roach went missing from her hometown of Georgetown, Illinois. 2 months later, her remains were found in a cornfield after a witness said that they saw a man driving a van around the cornfield. In early 94, several other people called the police about a man driving a van and talking to young girls, which led to Hall being brought in for questioning. This happened in October. Now, authorities showed Hall a photo of Roach, and he immediately flinched, leading them to suspect he had been involved in her murder. Though he denied ever having seen her, after finding evidence in his Dodge 82 van, that's not stereotypical, connecting him to Roach's disappearance, and after Hall gave details that only the perpetrator of the crime could have known. Hall eventually confessed to and was charged with Roach's abduction, though not her murder, that December. He was found guilty in June of 95, and at the time, the FBI assumed that he had murdered both Roach and college student Trisha Raitler, which Hall had confessed to but recanted. It is believed that Hall's first murder occurred when he was 18. 15-year-old Dean Marie Pyle Peters disappeared from her Grand Rapids, Michigan middle school in February of 81, and her body was never recovered. 12-year-old Deborah Jean Cole disappeared from her Indiana hometown in late August, which Hall is also suspected of. Over the next 13 years, numerous female corpses, some as young as 10 and some unidentified, were discovered and later attributed to Hall due to their bodies being strangled and sexually mutilated. His final assumed killing took place in early October of 94, just 3 weeks before he was brought in for police for questioning. Hall frequented historical reenactment sites and would select victims from nearby towns and cities. He would abduct his victims, primarily teenage girls and young women, though some were preteens and others were middle-aged, often, but not always, rape and or torture them, and then stab or strangle them to death. He would usually then mutilate their bodies, oftentimes sexually. Below, now I'm saying this, below what I'm looking at on my screen is a list of his presumed victims. Now, he's gotten 2 proven. 15 to 39 have been confessed to, and 40 to 50 plus have been assumed to be the work of his own hand. And we're looking at names like Dean Marie Pyle Peters, Deborah Jean Cole, Jennifer Lee Schmidt, Marcy Fuller Swinford, Denise Diane Flum, Bola Mila Chavez, Kimberly Ann Thompson, Linda Widley, Diana Jane Braungart, Wendy Louise Felton, Jane Doe number 1 and Jane Doe number 2, Paulette Webster, Cynthia Louise Carmack, Jane Doe number 3, and then the last that we know of, Penny Dawn Lease.
Yeah, and only 6 of the from what I'm calculating on this, of the 16s that you named off, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have the bodies actually been found. Now, the next part we're going to get into is the aftermath and
Aftermath and
incarnation.
incarceration.
Yeah, words not my good day today.
You above anybody else
Yeah.
should know how to pronounce that word, sir.
Yes, I know. Now, for some reason, it's very limited on this. We'll just get in the nitty gritty on it, because what it actually is James Jimmy Keene, who was serving 10 years in prison for drugs and weapons possession. There we go. Got it. Yay. Basically, he was What is that? What are you doing?
You remember Phineas and Ferb, dude?
Oh yeah, okay.
It's Perry the Platypus, bro.
Okay.
It's one of those. You remember those Kush ball things from the
Yeah.
late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Anyways, if you watch the TV show, you know this guy was very charismatic, and he was a football star when we got out of high school. There really isn't much on him on this article, but in the show, which was very dramatized, I seriously don't think that all that happened in the TV series that was actually happening in that prison. But he eventually found out that he did commit the murders. I swear I don't know if, because when watching the TV show, the Larry Hall, uh he kept on, if everything shows out right, he had multiple personality syndrome. If I looked at it, if I was watching watching up of that show,
Yeah.
Blackbird, it seemed like he had multiple personality syndrome, which
Mhm.
he could have had because the uh, uh symptoms that he had.
Well, if that was the case, I wouldn't want that. I mean, I wouldn't want that to be an official diagnosis because that would keep him off the death penalty.
Well, he wouldn't
And
get.
it might even get him out of prison.
No, he's actually just going to be serving a life imprisonment. And that's it.
Yeah.
But he's like 59 now. Uh, but in the TV show, basically what is happening is Jimmy Keene gets processed. He was supposed to, from what the show shows, is he was supposed to spend uh they were expecting him to only get 5 years. He ended up getting 10. He was in a minimum security prison, and then the FBI contacted him uh to get Larry Hall to confess to all the murders or find out where the actual bodies were buried. uh and in the drama of that, most of that stuff didn't happen. He did after a while believe that he was a monster and he was sickened with the guy. That drama was actually in there, but he eventually got out. The James Keene, he eventually got out, and he wrote a book. Let me find the book again, because I'm going like 15 different articles on this. Uh, but yeah, Blackbird, the true story was still a cure Larry James. What happened to Karen? Full details in King's book, wrote by Haley Living. Okay. Let
I'm
me
going to have
find
to figure out a way to soundproof my office a little bit more.
Yeah, I can actually hear the dogs uh screaming. Yeah, it's just called Blackbird. Uh which you can find on Amazon. I should have read the book. I could have read the book this week, but I don't. So. And there's also another book, the same by the same author, James Keene, which they retitled In with the Devil. Uh but it's Apple TV, uh, uh, Apple Plus or Apple TV movie. which the actual actor that played Larry Hall, spot on.
Mhm.
I mean, he almost looks dead on with the guy. And the guy that they got to play him, I swear he's all he has. Uh, it's Paul Walter Hustler. He's the guy that played
Yeah, the book is called In with the Devil, a fallen hero, a serial killer, and a dangerous bargain for redemption by James Keene with Hillel Levine.
but no, he played in Gorilla, I Tanya, uh a Black Klansman. I'm pretty sure that's the same guy that played in uh
Oh, he was in Cruella. Okay.
yeah, he was also Cobra Kai. He was uh the old guy, Stingray.
Okay. That
Did you
doesn't
not
sound
watch
right.
Did you not watch
I watched the first 3 seasons of Cobra Kai. After that, the nostalgia wore off. I just haven't been able to sit down and like force myself to sit through it.
it's I'm not gonna lie. I skipped to the last one because the last one's actually entertaining. But it still has the nostalgia on it. But which is weird on stuff like this. But I love this TV show Blackbird. Even I know that there was a lot of over dramatization on it,
Mm-hmm.
like most things nowadays, because they can't get any kind of original content like
Right.
nowadays. But this guy was I swear I need a let me see here real quick. I'm sorry everybody. I came like prepared and then a lot of the stuff just didn't. Okay, here we go. This has I don't know why this is the same site. Okay. But the aftermath of the incarceration in 1998, the FBI reached out to a prisoner named James Jimmy Keene, who was serving 10 years prison sentence for possession of drugs and weapons. I was trying to find the article. I'm just going to go off of this. The FBI, having learned of King's affiliate, affability and charisma. Anyways, and worried that Hall could have won his appeal against his conviction for the Roach kidnapping, offering the commute keen sentence if he agreed to transferred to the same maximum security prison as Hall in order to befriend him and obtain the location of the bodies of the victims, as well as additional murders he had committed. They had suspected that Hall was responsible for more than 2 murders they could confirm. Keene agreed to do this, and Hall eventually confessed to him that he had killed Ritter. One day, King saw Hall working on a map of the Midwest with red dots on and names over it, which Hall quickly covered up. King taking the map would be enough for the FBI, yelling at Hall, calling him one of the most despicable forms of human life on the planet. Of course, he didn't call him a monster like in the show, but anyways, King later regretted blowing his cover at that point, wishing he had gotten possession of the map before exposing his true motives. Unable to reach his FBI contacts or prove his true identity, Keene was placed in solitary confinement for 2 weeks before being released. He tried to recite the map from memory, but was unable to lead to any discoveries. The map was never recovered by authorities due to some of the details Keene retrieved from Hall that confirmed his knowledge of several disappearances. Hall's eventually appealed was denied, and Keene was released from his sentence. As of 2022, Hall was serving life without possible parole and federal correctional complex in North Carolina. He has since admitted that he has as many as 39 murders. He later recanted every confession, though the FBI believes he could have committed up to 50, which would make him one of the most prolific serial killers, blah, blah, blah. So, honestly, I would watch the show. It's a little bit too dramatized for my taste, and it doesn't go like dictate to the straight from the book and
Well,
everything.
I mean, that was the same thing with things like The Witcher. I mean, because in order to sell the story, in order to get a series out of it, I mean, there's going to have to be scenes, there's going to have to be, setups that take place away from anybody's knowledge.
Yeah, but that's
So,
just shitty writing from the writers from
eh,
found out.
I still want to watch it just because, I mean, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I mean, you would be very, very hard pressed to find anything that's going to have any kind of production value outside of, a triple A star, filming their own documentary kind of a thing.
Yeah. Like Falcomer.
Yeah. I mean, even
I'll watch
then,
that documentary.
yeah, that Val documentary was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But with, I mean, even with his, it was home movie clips, and I mean, yeah, he had to go in and do sound dubbing and everything like that, do voiceover work. Well, his son did voiceover work, but still,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, any miniseries or any kind of movie that Hollywood is going to put out. I mean, they're going to take their artistic license and they're going to run with it, just because they think, okay, well, we make. I mean, just like with The Watcher, they changed facts about the case.
Yeah.
I mean, they portrayed the family living in the house. They never moved in. They changed their names, obviously, to protect their identity, but that's what the internet's for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and especially with these historical fiction shows like Rain, uh, The Crown, I mean, just all kinds of crap like that, right? They're
Like
always going to take artistic
Abraham
viewpoint.
Lincoln and the Vampire Hunter.
That was the worst thing to happen to Abraham Lincoln in a theater. I'm just telling you. Okay, but
You know what's really sad? From Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, and the book. The book, if you read it, it's very historical, and Abraham lived as a vampire, still killing vampires. Because he was actually literally at the assassination at
I'm going to stick with my Reagan Diaries. I'm going to stick with my Thank Me for My Service. I'm going to stick with The Range Away. I'm going to stick to Cold Steel. I'm going to stick to books about Bastogne. Things like that. I mean, stuff that I know that is factually accurate. And
Well, I read the Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. I still can't believe
that
they
would
made
be
it
the
a
only
movie.
way that I mean that honestly that would be the only way that I think that I could actually enjoy that story.
Yeah.
Pride and
Yeah.
Prejudice to Zombies. Yeah. I mean, that had Matt Smith from Doctor Who in there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know.
They had it's really strange going down that rabbit hole. They've had a couple of historical fictions. And what's really good, you know, a lot of people go, "Oh, I can't believe someone wrote that and did that." Like I said, the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter one, if you read it, it's almost dead on. You actually believe it because they put a lot of the historical stuff into it too. And the book is just way different compared to the movie. The movie, you had like a big antagonist, but they actually had a scene in the book to where Harriet Tubman was in there. And Harriet Tubman was like small role in there, but they actually had a part to where it was understandable because there was good vampires and good vampires and bad vampires, and bad vampires wanted the slave trade to go on, so they keep on feeding and everything like that. It's somewhat the same plot line in the movie, but in the book it was only like have you ever played like Vampire the Masquerade, Calabra and the Sabbats type deal? That's why I got into it really good, because it was written like it was a Vampire the
Like it was
Masquerade,
historical nonfiction, right?
historical nonfiction, but Vampire the Masquerade at the same time.
Okay. Okay. Doesn't mean I'm gonna go check it out, but I mean,
I get bored and I'll it's like there's one book I read that I never thought I would read. Oh fuck, I can't remember. It was like uh it's like a prequel to The Godfather. I forget what it's
mhm.
called. Same author made it too.
I don't know, but
Hold on, I got it.
I know there's gonna be a lot of people out there that are gonna be like, "Oh my god, he calls himself a man. He doesn't know anything about the." I mean, look, I slept through 3/4 of the original Godfather. I didn't care for two. Didn't even bother with three.
I don't think
I
anyone
don't really care.
agree. Mario.
Come at me, bro. It's whatever.
I love like gangster movies and everything. So I had it right there. The Sicilian. That's what it was.
Ah, yes, that's right. The Sicilian.
They actually made a movie of that.
And you made quite possibly the greatest blunder of all time, and that's never stared at death directly in the eye when going against the Sicilian.
You know, it's really funny. They made a movie off of that book. Guess who played the lead role? Christopher Lambert.
Really,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. It was horribly good, I guess you would say. So of course I also revisit. I was skimming like through YouTube like I usually do, trying to get information on this episode, which wasn't that much in the begin with. I thought it would like be more information on this guy, and there would really wasn't. Like most of the picks I've been doing here lately.
Mhm.
We're just driving from time right now. But uh you remember Transylvania uh 5,000?
Yeah, it was a Gary Miller, a Glenn Miller song.
And Jeff Goldblum was in it.
No, I
No, it was
didn't
an
know
actual
that.
movie. It was an
Oh,
actual
I thought you were
movie.
talking about the big band song, like
I
Transylvania
think
Six
that big
5000.
band song might have been in the movie because
It
it was
was a song first. It came out in the 40s. Anyways, you're saying Jeff
a
Goldblum's in
low
it?
budget movie, and I just I remembered it. I was like, did I watch that movie? Because I've watched some horrible movies, and that looks that looks oddly familiar. If I watched it again, I would probably just go, man, what the fuck was I thinking back in the day watching this? And they had uh, Molly Green in it, and she's barely wearing anything throughout the whole fucking movie.
Okay.
I mean, one good she was like one wardrobe malfunction, and if I I was just watching the YouTube video of the movie. I think I seen the wardrobe malfunction where her tits fell out. She had some nice breasts. She was cute back then.
Well, I think it's time that we attempt to land this plane.
No, we keep it going. We fly it in, and then we let the engines go down, and then we
But look, it's
hopefully
not Bugs Bunny. Okay, we're not going to fly it out of fuel. And then moments before impact, the plane halts in midair. And then he looks at the screen and says, air brakes. We're not going to
yeah.
do that.
But anyways, if you're listening on this Saturday, we're gonna try to do a year in review for Sunday. Hopefully, I can get a hold of Chris and see if we can do that, and we'll come up with a schedule when it's gonna be out. But I really don't like to put in news on the Psychos and Sociopaths and What the Hell episodes, only because we don't do it on a like schedule weekly basis. We find the time. This was supposed to actually be recorded like a day beforehand. We missed it, but luckily, since it's only going on Saturday,
That was my fault because I didn't have my phone on me. So
man,
apologies,
well,
everybody.
you never buffed on that one. What was your phone doing? Like, were you just
It was in my room. I was in the living room.
yeah, you have a lot.
I think I honestly believe. Okay, yes, I understand that people need to get a hold of me, but it's a dire life and death. My parents have my wife's phone number as well.
Yeah. I
So
well, what's really sad is you're lucky to get a hold of me, so I can't really complain. I keep my ringer off and keep my buzzer off. People are like, didn't my dad's gotten pissed? It's like, what if you have an emergency or everything? It's like, you came
I
home.
mean, I went into my room, got the phone off my charger, and I went to go sit down in the living room because I was going to play Minecraft last night, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Shut up. It's dude. It's like I can just tune out when I'm playing that game. Anyways, um, I sit down and I grab my controller and I look at my phone and I'm like, let me scroll through my notifications and I saw you had texted me and I'm like, oh, shit. I looked at Mindy
You're
and
not
she's
the
just
only. I don't know what is it. You and Chris, for some other reason, it's hard to get the event. Chris has done it a couple of times. It's so viewed where
you know what I think it is? The fact that him and I have both been on alert statuses before. And we've been told, and it's been browbeat into our heads, be by your phones, be by your phones, be by your phones, be by your phones. Well, now that Uncle Sam isn't giving us a paycheck to be by our phones, I don't have to be by my phone.
yeah, I get that.
And I find it that it's happening at an alarming rate that I'm adapting or adopting rather some of my parents' more nuanced habits. It's like it's like my dad doesn't like to be around a lot of people. We had 35 people here for Thanksgiving,
Oh wow.
and that's not even everybody, right? The dogs are playing in there. Oh my god. You would think that after getting your dog fixed that he would just chill out. No. I think it maybe took the edge off of it, but he's still got Jack Terrier in him. So I mean those are very big personality dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's some days I want to throw a shovel at him and like, shut the fuck up. But you know,
Just punted it across the room.
right. I mean, he's small enough to where, if I hit him just right, he'll catch air. However, um when my wife's dog gets in on the act, she has got a petite mini or a petite mini doodle, I think it's called. I mean, when this dog, whenever, in between groomings, it looks like a cross between Chewbacca or Bear in the Big Blue House, right? And this dog wants to be held, like, so you pick her up and then she lifts her hind legs up so you can cradle her butt, and she puts both of her front paws around your neck and hugs you like a human being. I let these dogs out in the morning. She's figured out how to get up and hit the door handle to open up the back door to let themselves back in.
Hmm.
And I'm like, really? First time that happened, I was in the kitchen and somebody was jiggling the back door handle was getting jiggled, and I was like, oh, shit. My gun's in my bedroom. So I'm looking and I pull a big fucking knife out of the butcher block. I'm like, I'm about to stab somebody. And then the door opens and I got the knife against my forearm and I'm about to go up to the door, and then the dog just kind of goes, and I'm like, oh, I hate you. I shut the door. I was like, damn it. But anyways,
Chris said possibly. So
possibly on Sunday.
he has weird stuff. I know what he does on his off time. But anyways, everybody, I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
This is Larry Hall for Psychos and Sociopaths.
And thank you, everybody, for partaking in our avocation. We're hoping that you know the right people so that our avocation becomes our vocation. Good night, everybody. Keep it classy, San Diego. There, you happy?
I'm happy.
Okay.